Menopausal brain fog is a direct consequence of the profound hormonal shifts occurring in the body and their impact on the brain's function. The brain is not broken, it is simply adapting to a new hormonal environment. This report will provide a definitive, evidence-based exploration of the intricate science behind why this happens. By understanding the neurological underpinnings of these changes, it becomes possible to demystify the experience, alleviate the associated fears, and identify the most effective strategies to support the brain and restore mental clarity. This is a journey through the science of the menopausal brain, designed to provide a clear path toward renewed cognitive confidence. Show your support for women's health with a quick like, share, and subscribe. To comprehend the cognitive shifts of menopause, one must first discard the outdated notion that estrogen is solely a reproductive hormone. For decades, scientific understanding has evolved to recognize estrogen as a powerful neurosteroid and a master regulator of brain health. The female brain is a profoundly hormonal organ designed to function optimally within an environment rich in this key molecule. The menopausal transition, therefore, is not merely the cessation of menses, but a fundamental rewiring of the brain's core operating system as it learns to function without this critical regulator. The hormonal brain. More than reproduction. Estrogen, particularly its most potent form, 17B estradiol, E2, acts as a systems-level signaling molecule that coordinates a vast array of functions across the central nervous system. Its influence is not peripheral but foundational. This is possible because estrogen receptors, specifically estrogen receptor alpha, ERA, and estrogen receptor beta, ERB, are widely distributed throughout the brain. They are found in high concentrations in regions indispensable for higher-level cognition, including the hippocampus, which is the seat of memory formation, and the prefrontal cortex, the brain's chief executive responsible for planning, focus, and decision-making. For the entirety of a woman's reproductive life, these brain regions are bathed in a cyclical supply of estrogen. This consistent hormonal signaling influences everything from cellular energy production to the speed of neural communication and the brain's capacity for self-repair. The menopausal transition represents a fundamental shift in this established neurochemical environment. The decline and eventual cessation of ovarian estrogen production forces the brain to adapt to a new, lower estrogen state. The cognitive symptoms that arise are not signs of failure, but are the perceptible effects of a systemic adaptation to this new biological reality. The brain is recalibrating its decades-old operating system, which was coded to run on high levels of estrogen, to a new version that must function more efficiently with less. This recalibration period is what is experienced as brain fog. The brain's energy crisis, the glucose connection. The subjective feeling of mental slowness or fog is not a vague psychological phenomenon. It is the cognitive manifestation of a literal energy supply chain crisis at the cellular level. The human brain is an exceptionally energy-intensive organ, consuming approximately 20% of the body's total glucose, its primary fuel source. Estrogen is a fundamental regulator of the brain's bioenergetic system, playing a critical role in ensuring that neurons can efficiently access and utilize this fuel. Estrogen achieves this by modulating the expression and function of key glucose transporter proteins that ferry glucose from the bloodstream into brain cells. These include GLUT1, which facilitates glucose transport across the blood-brain barrier, and GLUT3 and GLUT4, which are crucial for moving glucose directly into neurons. Studies in animal models have demonstrated that the surgical removal of ovaries, ovariectomy, which simulates the hormonal state of menopause, induces a significant decline in these essential glucose transporters. Conversely, treatment with estrogen prevents this decline. During the menopausal transition, as estrogen levels fluctuate and ultimately fall, the brain's ability to utilize glucose becomes less efficient. This creates a temporary energy crisis or a state of relative hypometabolism in certain brain regions. Neuroimaging studies using PET scans have confirmed this effect, showing that postmenopausal women not receiving hormone therapy have reduced cerebral glucose metabolism compared to those who are particularly in brain regions characteristically affected in Alzheimer's disease. This energy deficit is most pronounced in the very areas richest in estrogen receptors and most critical for cognition, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. This metabolic disruption is a direct physical cause of the slowed processing speed, difficulty concentrating, and mental fatigue that characterize brain fog. The brain's highest level functions are, in essence, being throttled due to a fuel shortage. Rewiring the communication network. Estrogen and your neurotransmitters. Even with sufficient energy, cognitive function depends on the seamless communication between billions of neurons. This communication is mediated by chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, and estrogen is a key modulator of these vital systems. The decline in estrogen disrupts the delicate balance of these neurochemicals, contributing directly to the cognitive and mood-related symptoms of menopause. Acetylcholine, this is the primary neurotransmitter involved in learning and memory consolidation. Estrogen supports the cholinergic system, which produces and utilizes acetylcholine. When estrogen levels decline, the activity of this system can decrease, directly impacting the ability to encode new memories and retrieve existing ones. This biological mechanism underlies some of the most frustrating aspects of brain fog, such as word-finding difficulties, the tip of the tongue phenomenon, and short-term memory lapses, like forgetting why one entered a room. Serotonin and dopamine. Estrogen also plays a crucial role in regulating the serotonergic and dopaminergic systems. Serotonin is integral to mood regulation, sleep, and emotional stability, while dopamine is central to motivation, focus, and executive function. Estrogen helps modulate the synthesis of serotonin and influences the density of dopamine receptors. During perimenopause, the erratic fluctuations of estrogen can lead to unpredictable signaling in these systems. This contributes not only to the mood swings, anxiety, and depressive symptoms common in this transition, but also to a decline in the ability to plan, organize, and sustain attention on a task, all core components of executive function governed by the prefrontal cortex. Glutamate and GABA. The brain maintains a delicate equilibrium between its primary excitatory neurotransmitter, glutamate, and its primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, GABA. Estrogen helps to maintain this balance. Dysregulation in these systems can contribute to feelings of being overwhelmed, anxious, or mentally scattered, further compounding the experience of brain fog. Beyond its role in real-time brain operations like energy supply and communication, estrogen functions as a powerful guardian of the brain's physical structure and long-term health. It provides a neuroprotective shield that, when diminished during menopause, leaves the brain temporarily more vulnerable to the insults of aging and stress. This loss of the brain's primary shock absorber helps explain why women in midlife may suddenly feel that they can no longer power through a bad night's sleep or a stressful week the way they once could. The brain's capacity for self-repair and adaptation is temporarily diminished at the very moment it faces a host of new challenges. One of estrogen's most critical protective functions is the promotion of synaptic plasticity. This refers to the brain's remarkable ability to form new connections, synapses between neurons, and strengthen existing ones, which is the physical basis of all learning and memory. Estrogen enhances plasticity by increasing the density of dendritic spines, the small protrusions on neurons that receive signals in key areas like the hippocampus. This structural enhancement improves the brain's capacity for information processing and adaptation. Furthermore, estrogen exerts powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects within the brain, protecting neurons from damage caused by oxidative stress. It also stimulates the production of a crucial protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Often described as miracle grow for the brain, BDNF supports the survival of existing neurons and encourages the growth and differentiation of new neurons and synapses. The loss of estrogen during menopause leads to a temporary reduction in these vital neuroprotective and neurotrophic supports, slowing the brain's ability to adapt and repair itself. While the decline of estrogen is the foundational trigger for menopausal brain fog, it rarely acts alone. The experience is often the result of a perfect storm, a convergence of other menopause-related symptoms and life stressors that place a significant and compounding burden on a brain that is already metabolically compromised and less resilient. Understanding these secondary factors is crucial, as they are often more amenable to lifestyle interventions. The collateral damage of sleepless nights. Among the compounding factors, sleep disruption is arguably the most significant contributor to menopausal brain fog. The primary culprits are vasomotor symptoms, specifically nocturnal hot flashes or night sweats. These events are not merely a discomfort, they are potent neurological disruptors that repeatedly fragment sleep architecture throughout the night. Healthy sleep cycles through distinct stages, including the restorative phases of deep sleep, also known as slow-wave sleep, and REM, rapid eye movement sleep. Each stage serves a critical brain maintenance function. During deep sleep, the brain's unique waste clearance pathway, the glymphatic system, becomes highly active. In this state, the space between brain cells expands, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flush through the tissue, clearing out metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours. Crucially, this includes the removal of neurotoxic proteins like amyloid beta, the peptide that forms the infamous plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Research indicates that the glymphatic system is up to 60% more active during sleep than when awake, and even a single night of sleep deprivation can lead to an increase in the brain's amyloid beta burden. Night sweats, by causing repeated awakenings, chronically disrupt deep sleep and thereby impair this essential detoxification process. The resulting garbage buildup directly contributes to the feeling of mental sluggishness and fogginess the following day. REM sleep, the stage most associated with dreaming, is also vital for cognitive function. It plays a key role in memory consolidation, the process of transferring newly learned information from short-term to long-term storage. When night sweats repeatedly interrupt REM sleep, this memory consolidation process is compromised, leading to increased forgetfulness and difficulty retaining new information. A tired brain, operating in a physically toxic environment with poorly consolidated memories, is by definition a foggy brain. The physiology of a hot flash, a moment of cognitive disruption. Beyond their impact on sleep, daytime hot flashes act as acute cognitive disruptors. A hot flash is a complex neurovascular event triggered by the hypothalamus, the brain's thermostat, which becomes sensitized and unstable due to declining estrogen levels. When the hypothalamus mistakenly perceives the body as overheating, it initiates a powerful and sudden cooling cascade. This involves peripheral vasodilation, the widening of blood vessels in the skin, a rapid increase in heart rate, and profuse sweating. This abrupt physiological alarm is profoundly distracting, consuming cognitive resources and making it nearly impossible to maintain a train of thought or focus on a complex task. The experience can be accompanied by feelings of anxiety or unease, further diverting mental energy. Studies have shown that women who experience more frequent or severe vasomotor symptoms often perform more poorly on tests of verbal memory. Furthermore, research using functional MRI has linked hot flashes to changes in brain connectivity, particularly within the default mode network (DMN), a system of brain regions that is active during rest and is involved in memory and self-referential thought. Altered connectivity between the DMN and the hippocampus has been observed in relation to hot flashes, suggesting a potential neural mechanism by which these symptoms can directly interfere with memory processes. The cortisol connection, how stress hardwires brain fog. The menopausal transition often coincides with a period of significant life stress, including career pressures, aging parents, and adolescent children. The hormonal shifts of menopause can, in themselves, reduce a woman's resilience to this stress. This intersection of internal and external pressures can create a vicious cycle mediated by the stress hormone, cortisol. Under conditions of chronic stress, the adrenal glands produce persistently elevated levels of cortisol. This has direct and detrimental effects on the brain. Research has shown that elevated cortisol levels in midlife are associated with a greater burden of amyloid protein deposits in the brain years later, a key early indicator of Alzheimer's disease risk, particularly in postmenopausal women. Furthermore, the hippocampus is particularly vulnerable to the effects of cortisol. This brain region has a high density of glucocorticoid receptors, and prolonged exposure to high cortisol levels is known to be neurotoxic. It can impair synaptic plasticity, inhibit the birth of new neurons, neurogenesis, and even cause the hippocampus to shrink in volume. This directly damages the brain's primary memory center. This creates a destructive feedback loop. Menopausal symptoms like poor sleep and brain fog cause stress. This stress elevates cortisol, and the elevated cortisol further damages the hippocampus, worsening the very memory problems that are already under pressure from the loss of estrogen. While the biological underpinnings of menopausal brain fog are complex, the brain possesses a remarkable capacity for resilience and adaptation. A proactive, multifaceted approach that supports the brain's underlying biological systems can significantly mitigate symptoms and restore mental clarity. The following evidence-based strategies provide a powerful toolkit for navigating this transition and fostering long-term cognitive health. Movement as medicine, rewiring your brain with exercise. Physical exercise stands out as perhaps the single most potent non-hormonal intervention for combating menopausal brain fog. Its benefits are not merely about general health. Exercise directly targets the specific neurological vulnerabilities created by estrogen decline. A comprehensive fitness plan should include both aerobic exercise and strength training. Aerobic exercise, activities like brisk walking, running, swimming, or cycling that elevate the heart rate are crucial for enhancing blood flow to the brain. This delivers a much-needed supply of oxygen and glucose to brain regions that may be experiencing an energy deficit. More importantly, aerobic exercise is a powerful stimulator of BDNF, the brain fertilizer protein. By boosting BDNF levels, aerobic activity helps to compensate for the loss of estrogen's neurotrophic support, encouraging the growth of new neurons and synapses and enhancing the brain's plasticity. Strength training. Resistance training is non-negotiable for women in midlife. Building and maintaining muscle mass has a profound effect on metabolic health. Muscle is a primary site for glucose uptake, and having more of it improves the body's overall insulin sensitivity. Better insulin sensitivity leads to more stable blood sugar levels, which provides a more consistent and reliable fuel supply for the brain, directly countering the energy crisis described earlier. Additionally, contracting muscles release a class of proteins called myokines, some of which, like irisin, can cross the blood-brain barrier and exert positive effects on cognitive function and brain health. Nutritional strategies can provide the essential building blocks and protective compounds the brain needs to function optimally during the menopausal transition. Adopting a neuroprotective dietary pattern such as the Mediterranean diet or the closely related MIND diet has been strongly linked to better cognitive outcomes. The MIND Mediterranean-intervention for neurodegenerative delay diet in particular was specifically designed to target brain health and has been shown to slow cognitive decline. These diets emphasize whole, unprocessed foods rich in compounds that combat inflammation and oxidative stress, two processes exacerbated by estrogen loss. Key brain supportive nutrients to prioritize include omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA docosahexaenoic acid and EPA eicosapentaenoic acid, are critical structural components of brain cell membranes. They are essential for maintaining membrane fluidity, which facilitates effective neurotransmitter signaling and synaptic plasticity. Rich sources include fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. Adequate intake of omega-3s is associated with improved mood and cognitive function and may help reduce the risk of age-related cognitive decline. B vitamins. This family of vitamins, especially B12, B6 and folate, is crucial for nerve health, energy metabolism, and the synthesis of neurotransmitters. Deficiencies in B vitamins can mimic or worsen the symptoms of brain fog, making it important to ensure adequate intake from sources like leafy greens, legumes, eggs, and lean meats, and to have levels checked by a healthcare provider. Antioxidants and flavonoids. A diet rich in a rainbow of colorful fruits and vegetables provides a wide array of antioxidants like vitamins C and E and flavonoids. These compounds protect brain cells from damage caused by oxidative stress. Berries in particular are highlighted in the MIND diet for their potent neuroprotective effects. Choline, found in high concentrations in egg yolks, choline is a precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Ensuring adequate choline intake supports the cholinergic system, which is vital for memory and learning. Mastering your mind, stress reduction and cognitive engagement. Directly managing the brain's response to stress and actively building its resilience are two powerful strategies for clearing the fog. Taming cortisol. Practices such as mindfulness meditation, yoga, and paced, deep breathing are not merely relaxation techniques. They are evidence-based interventions that can actively lower circulating cortisol levels. By engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, these practices can counteract the chronic fight-or-flight state that elevates cortisol. Regular practice has been shown to strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive functions like focus and emotional regulation, which are often compromised by both stress and menopause. Building your cognitive reserve. The concept of cognitive reserve refers to the brain's ability to withstand neurological damage by using its networks more efficiently or by recruiting alternative neural pathways to accomplish a task. This reserve is not fixed, it is built over a lifetime through education and engagement in mentally stimulating activities. Midlife is a critical window to actively invest in this brain bank. Engaging in novel and complex activities, such as learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, taking a challenging class, or playing strategy games, forces the brain to create new neural pathways. This process, known as neuroplasticity, builds redundancy into the brain's wiring. When primary cognitive pathways are slowed by the effects of menopause, a brain with a high cognitive reserve can call upon these alternate routes, effectively buffering against the symptoms of brain fog and promoting resilience against future age-related decline. Medical allies. When and how to seek professional support. While lifestyle interventions are foundational, medical support can be a critical component of managing menopausal brain fog. Menopausal hormone therapy, MHT. For many women, MHT is the most direct and effective treatment because it addresses the root of the problem, estrogen deficiency. By restoring estrogen to the brain, MHT can help improve brain energy metabolism, support neurotransmitter function, and alleviate the secondary symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats that disrupt cognition. Recent research, hypothetically dated 2025, suggests that the type of MHT may matter for specific cognitive domains. An observational study involving over 7,000 postmenopausal women found that those using transdermal estradiol patches or gels had better performance on tests of episodic memory recalling past words and events, compared to non-users. In contrast, those taking oral estradiol pills demonstrated better prospective memory remembering to perform future tasks. These findings, while not proving causation, suggest that different delivery methods may have distinct effects due to how they are metabolized, highlighting the importance of a personalized discussion with a healthcare provider about the most appropriate MHT formulation. Essential health screenings. It is vital to consult with a healthcare provider to rule out or manage other medical conditions that can cause or worsen cognitive symptoms. Brain fog can also be a symptom of thyroid disorders, vitamin B12 deficiency, or anemia. A thorough medical evaluation can ensure that these potential contributing factors are identified and properly addressed. Perhaps the most pervasive fear accompanying menopausal brain fog is the worry that it might be an early sign of a more serious neurodegenerative condition like Alzheimer's disease. This anxiety is understandable but in the vast majority of cases unfounded. Providing clear distinctions between these experiences is a crucial step toward alleviating fear and empowering women to manage their symptoms with confidence. Brain fog versus dementia. Understanding the critical differences. Menopausal brain fog and the cognitive decline associated with dementia have fundamentally different characteristics. Brain fog is typically a state of reduced cognitive efficiency, whereas dementia involves a progressive loss of cognitive ability. The symptoms of brain fog tend to fluctuate with good days and bad days, and they do not typically interfere with a person's ability to perform essential daily functions. A key differentiator is self-awareness. Women experiencing menopausal brain fog are usually acutely aware of and frustrated by their cognitive slips. In contrast, a common feature of early dementia is a lack of awareness or insight into the deficits, anosognosia. While it is always advisable to consult a healthcare professional for any concerning cognitive changes, the following table provides a general guide to help differentiate between the two conditions. The path forward. Your brain's adaptation and recovery. The conclusion from decades of neurological and endocrinological research is clear. For most women, the cognitive fog of menopause is a temporary and transitional phase. It is not a sign of a permanently damaged brain. Rather, it reflects a period of intense neurobiological adaptation as the brain learns to function in a new, lower estrogen environment. Studies show that as the brain adjusts to its new hormonal baseline over a period of 1 to 2 years post-menopause, many of these cognitive symptoms begin to lift and performance can return to premenopausal levels. Leading expert organizations, such as the Menopause Society, formerly the North American Menopause Society, recognize these transient cognitive difficulties as a well-documented aspect of the menopausal transition. The key to navigating this period successfully is to be proactive. By understanding the science, supporting the brain with a healthy lifestyle, actively managing symptoms, and engaging in open conversation with a healthcare provider, women can do more than just endure this transition. They can actively support their brain's adaptation process, emerging from the fog with renewed mental clarity, confidence, and a robust toolkit for promoting lifelong cognitive health.